When I was working for Maryland Forest Service, I had the opportunity to come to Carroll County as a service forester. And at that time, we lived in southern Maryland, had a small farm in southern Maryland. I came up here and started looking for another farm. Took the soil survey book, a couple maps, started to really triangulate and figure out an area I wanted to be in, and this turned out to be, the area really was between New Windsor, Union Bridge, and Westminster. That's really where I wanted to be. It took about a year, but we found this farm. It's a little over 100 acres. And at that time, it was an abandoned dairy farm, bankrupt dairy farm. The son was squatting on the property, and it couldn't sell at auctions because it was such a mess. The house was uninhabitable. The property was trashed with a lot of old farm equipment, and it had close to 1,000 tires, used tires on it. So to me, it was a diamond in the rough. Maryland passed the Forest Conservation Act, which really meant that trees, native trees, were going to be required in plantings on new developments. And it opened an opportunity to supply those native plants throughout the state. My first workforce were my kids and my wife. My children were not really given much of an opportunity. They were conscripted into the business at a very young age, and they were amazing. They were instrumental in building it, in helping with orders, planting plants, everything. They did everything.
When I look back at it now, I remember really hating it. I mean, it's physical labor, right? You're weeding, you're watering, you're out in the heat. We were planting seedlings, so you're on your hands and your knees. So that's really taxing, but we were young and we had lots of energy. So that's why we were the perfect labor. I look back and I think it created a really excellent work ethic for myself and my brother. And I don't regret it at all. And I really want to instill that in my own kids somehow. I mean, definitely things have changed these days, but I look back and I really appreciate all of the hard work that my brother and I did with my dad and my mom.
After about 4 years, I realized the business was going to succeed. And then you start thinking about, well, what are you going to do now? What's the next step? So it was either, am I going to sell it at some point, or am I going to try to pass it on to someone in the next generation? So I asked my kids if anybody was interested, and my daughter Jessica raised her hand. So from that point on, the kids would help me on and off, but Jessica really started to take a bigger interest and activity in the business.
We were in the process of doing estate planning, and he asked us if anybody was interested in taking over the nursery, and I'm the one that raised my hand. And then we said, okay, then what do we need to do to make that happen? And so that's when we started the process in '08, and I bought it, finalized everything in '09. And one of the main reasons we did that was so that we could also provide another service for our customers, which is the minority enterprise, business enterprise service. And that's been great, but we started that succession planning way back then, and it wasn't just for that added service to customers. It was just kind of creating a legacy, and the farm itself is a legacy for the family in general. And I'm really happy to be a part of that. So
the trend is in the nursery business there's a significant decline, and it's continuing in small nursery family businesses. Because there is no succession. They're unable to get a succession plan to work. And we just made it happen. It wasn't like you turn in a switch. It took years. It grew. It grew and it grew and it grew until there was a moment when she took ownership. I mean, mentally took ownership of this business. And I feel great about that, because I see that as one of the greatest successes that I've had for this business to continue. And I can tell you, when she came on, this business would not be where it is today in its size or its organization, its efficiencies. We wouldn't have the staff we have. I'm not sure we'd still be in business if it wasn't for her coming on board as an owner in this business, because we've really grown since she's been here, and we've gotten only better and better at what we do. I'm a production person. That's what I focus on. Jessica's administration, cut flowers, the human side, the resources. Look at the staff, and you'll see a lot of Jessica's qualities in the staff. Anybody who can pull off a succession plan is really fortunate at this point.
I really love coming to work every day. I love working with the people that I have on staff here. It just really says something that you get to come to work and you enjoy what you do. We would not be in business if it wasn't for our employees, both our American employees as well as our H-2A visa employees. There's a program in place like the H-2A because there are not Americans here that want to do that work. So we're really fortunate to be able to be a part of the H-2A program. And without that, we would not be in business because we would not be able to fill those positions. So we really try to find the right fit. We use Lassos in Bel Air to help us find our workers. She knows what we do here, and she's really helpful in finding specific people that she thinks would do a good job. So we have that ability to find people that we know are going to, potentially do well and can do nursery work and are interested in it. And then we really try to bring them back every year. We train them, and we really just wouldn't be in business without them.
Well, Amanda's basically, I would call her our cheerleader. She always comes in positive. She's our general manager and inventory manager. And she has taken over even more responsibilities from that. And she really works between the staff, Evie, our sales manager, office manager, with the crew and the customers, and is just not only involved in knowing what we have available and where we are on our inventory, but really in just making sure that everything flows really well from the very beginning of a customer request or proposal all the way through to delivery or pickup of the product. Evie is our newest employee. She really runs the office, takes care of logistics, sales, and along with other things. And again, just such complete confidence in her ability. Between Jessica, Evie, and Amanda, they really coordinate and they support one another so much that it's taken a lot of the stuff I used to do in the office, I don't do anymore. I'm just there as an advisor to provide another perspective. Morgan has been hired to help Jessica with her cut flower program and to help in administration and support with Evie and Amanda. So again, we cross over the task so that everybody knows a little bit about what another person does, so if they have to fill in the holes or the blanks, they can do it for a short period of time. In the field, David is the go-to guy. He's the one I will always go to. He passes the information down to a couple of solid foremen that he has, and then they in turn supervise and directly supervise the remainder of the crew. Design of a nursery system starts really with what your water supply is and how much water you have. You can't go beyond what you have in the way of a water supply. And that really governs everything else, in my opinion. If you've got unlimited water, that's surely going to change what you can do versus what we do. We operate from 5 wells, and so water is just an absolute critical component of everything we do. So our growing areas are designed as sections based on how much water we can supply at any one time. Drip irrigation and pot go hand in hand, and drip irrigation is about 95 to 98% efficient and how it uses your water supply. So about 98% of everything we do is with drip irrigation. We'll do it in a pot and pot system, which is a socket pot, just a regular heavy-duty pot that's permanently in the ground in a specific layout, and a second pot with the plant goes into that pot. And then there's an irrigation line that goes over top of those plants. So here we do it in rows that are spaced out so we can access both sides of the rows for production purposes. We also do production with drip irrigation on top of the ground as well, and it allows us more flexibility in the number of plants we can put in a space. But everything is dictated by how much water we can supply and run at one time. Really, we have a couple of support systems, but when it comes to pot and pot, it's pretty straightforward. We stake, every plant is staked, and we do that to keep things consistent in a high quality and consistent quality is what we're after. What we really want to be known for and what we strive to be is to provide landscape quality native plants. That's our goal. That's our fundamental goal. And in the support, this is a windy part of the county, and so our trees will get 5 to even 10 feet tall, and they become sails in the summer. They get a lot of leaves on them, and so you have to have support about midway up the stem or 3 feet up the stem, and we'll use a line and stakes, and then we'll attach those trees to that line with a rubber band, and it'll just hold them there. But it also gives them enough flexibility to blow in the wind and gain strength. So, but the stake keeps them straight, and the line keeps them from blowing over, or at least getting enough supports all the way through from top to bottom.
The nursery was originally established for reforestation mitigation work specifically. And over the years, we've really fine-tuned how we grow to provide plant material at a higher quality. So technically it's the reforestation industry, I would say. That's what it's mainly there for, and what was originally started as, but we definitely have changed and evolved our growing techniques to produce a more high quality landscape grade plant.
We grow about 180,000 plants. That's our inventory. And so many species may be at 4,000 or 5,000 plants of the same type, of the same age. So we have to manage to keep our plants healthy and saleable and clean. We have an integrated pest management program in place, and we have for 30 years, where we scout and we look for different insects and diseases, and then we spray or we use other treatments, cultural treatments, to keep the populations low, so by the end of the season, those plants are healthy. One of the goals that we have here is to keep those plants growing, one flush after another. And insects and diseases can really shut that down fast when you're growing populations, the same species in a large population. So I would handle it. I had a scout on hand for many years under contract, and we'd meet, he'd come in on a regular basis, scout the area, we'd discuss it at the end of his visit, then I would end up pretty much doing the spraying, and I would do spraying with cannon sprayers and mist sprayers and you name it, but very conventional sprayers. Then about this year, in 2024, I was fortunate enough to meet someone who sprays with drones. And I had followed drone spraying in nurseries and agriculture, but I wasn't over the last 8 years, but I really hadn't kept up with it. And I can tell you it transformed the entire program, because now, number one, I'm not responsible to try to spray this entire nursery or manage the spraying of, we don't spray everything, it's about managing the spraying of the nursery. And it's done so efficiently, so quickly, so thoroughly, on a regular basis, and it's very cost effective. It uses a lot of the newer chemistries that are safer in the environment, and across the beneficials that you try to keep here. There's a lot of insects you don't want to kill. You want to keep them around because they keep the other pest populations down. And I think that's been one of the biggest changes for us this past year, is in the use of drones. So it's just amazing how things are changing in the industry, and we always look forward to taking advantage of those technologies that are new and beneficial to us.
I think the future of the nursery is continuing to expand thoughtfully, and we've always done that from the very beginning. We do have the ability to expand into 30 acres or 30 additional acres, and I honestly never thought we were going to do that. Originally we maxed this property out, and then this other property kind of, I don't want to say fell into our lap, but it was an opportunity that we couldn't pass up, and that's kind of where we saw the expansion. And so that gives us the ability to expand into more growing areas, because we're really maxed out here. But I think expanding into different areas thoughtfully, when it comes to the size of plant material that we provide, the type of plant material that we provide. Right now we've really had a wonderful opportunity to do a large contract grow with a company out of New Jersey. And I really think that that's kind of more the direction that we would go into, is continue to find customers that want contract grows. So we can develop these spots, these spaces for growing, and we know that we have those plants sold. But we're not going to build those sections until we know that it's going to produce money, right? You're not just going to build it and hope it comes. And I think that that's kind of where I want to go in the future, is continuing the same thoughtful process that my dad's had over the last 3 decades, is growing thoughtfully and economically, right? Don't get too big for your britches. Be able to maintain what you have, right? We've always grown in small doses, whether it's been our crew size or the number of plants that we've grown. We've actually decreased the number of plants that we've grown. We've just made the plants bigger. We've gone from 350,000 plants that were 2-gallon to 150,000 plants of 5, 7s, and 15s. So I think continuing to grow the same size material, 5, 7s, 15s, but doing it thoughtfully.
We didn't have deer fence until about 4 years ago, and Rocket for about 8 years took care of that. And he didn't chase deer. He just knew the boundary of this farm, and he'd walk it. He'd walk it all day. He lived here in a tank house, and he could come and go as he pleased. And he did a fabulous, and they would not violate that line. When he retired and became a greeter at the house, he finally decided his job was done, and he came and hung out in the office. But dogs are just a part of my life and part of my family's life, and a lot of my employees' lives. They all have dogs. So having them in the nursery is just a blessing to all of us, and just a lot of fun. So recently we just lost Lacey, and Lacey was with us not long enough, 8 years, but she was my buddy and companion. Just a great golden, and we replaced Lacey with Ruby, who now is about 2 months old, all right, and running around, and again, making everybody laugh and just having fun, just having a good time. And then there's Pip, and Pip is a toy Australian Shepherd, and although he's only 10 pounds, he's got an attitude of a 100-pound dog. He's a go-getter, and they just love to run around the farm in the evenings every day. One of my best things to do is to get out walking or on an ATV, and we roam the nursery together, the dogs and I, and it gives me a chance to catch up on what's been done from the day before, because I'm not out in the field as much as I'm not out in the field like I used to be. But this way I can stay on top.
I think I stayed at the nursery because I really just enjoyed the type of work I was doing, but I also really enjoyed spending so much time with my parents, specifically my dad, because my mom really wasn't involved in the day-to-day, but my dad was. And I really enjoyed spending time with him and working with him on whatever it was, whether it was a project or sales, because that's really what I moved into when I went to college. So I think the main thing was just family, you know, being able to spend as much time with family as possible.
It's still a family business. We've been successful passing it down into the next generation, and I see a bright future for it with her at the helm.